All rise. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. Circuit Court in and for Manatee County and the 12th Judicial Circuit of the State of Florida is open and convened, with judges attending en banc for the dedication of the Manatee County Historical Courtroom. All are invited to draw near and give attention as court is now in session. Ladies and gentlemen, please ensure that your telephones are turned off for the duration of the ceremony. Color guard, present the colors.
Halt! Left, right, face.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Paul E. Logan.
Present arms.
Please join me in prayer. Almighty God, we gather to celebrate the reopening of this historic courtroom. We are grateful and thankful for this part of your creation, for Manatee County, and for all who live here, for the people who planned and built this courthouse over 100 years ago, and for all those who came after, who worked here, and who labored to preserve this historic building. We are particularly thankful for the Renovation team, for their wisdom and foresight, resourcefulness and energy in designing and bringing to completion the restoration that we see today, and for the craftsmen and workers whose exceptional skills have brought this magnificent room back to its original glory. We ask your blessing upon this courtroom and all present, especially the participants in this program. We pray that this room will be a place where all who visit will be inspired by its beauty and grandeur and will seek to learn more of the rich history of the Manatee County Bar and courts. And gracious God, we commend our nation to your merciful care and protection. We pray that you will guide us and give us wisdom to pursue what is just and true and good, according to your will. We pray in your name. Amen. Court will come to order.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free?
Color guard, post the colors.
Color bearers, about face. Post the colors. Port arms. Color bearers, about face. Recover. Color guard, at the half step, forward, march.
Everyone, please be seated. Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to introduce our Clerk of the Court, R.B. Chip Shore. Mr. Shore.
Thank you, Judge Smith. And thank all of you for being here. And I'd like to extend to one and all a very warm welcome to the opening of this very, very exciting project. Since we're all dignitaries, I'm not going to try to introduce everybody because it would take all day, but there's one special person here I do want to recognize, and her name is Mavis Hensley. Her husband was Judge Hensley, who practiced in this courtroom for years and years and years. Today is an important day in Manatee County history, and I am so glad that you and I and all of us could be a part of it. We are preserving a piece of our history. I love seeing a part of our past restored for future generations to have and to honor. So many communities have done away with their historical courtrooms, properties, and Manatee County has done an incredible job. And it's all due to the Board of County Commissioners and to the people that work here. And I appreciate them so much. Restoring this courtroom is a dream come true for me, a dream a long time in making, would you believe, over 30 years. Also, not only did we rebuild this courtroom, it's built to the colors that you see here that we discovered during remodeling, but also on the third floor, we will have a small museum which will show the courtroom as it came along. Each year is a little bit different, and the attorneys in Bradenton are bringing us little things that they remember from this courtroom to put in there. So I think that's going to be very interesting. This courtroom was built in 1913, and it's been known as the courtroom, because it was the only one, then courtroom C, and lastly courtroom E. I've never figured out why they changed it, but it was changed. It was basically used in its latter years for traffic court, teen court, and some higher profile criminal trials. For those who remember what it used to look like, it was reminiscent of an ugly chamber from 1970s. It had wood paneling, it had gum-laden benches, and a low ceiling and scuffed floors. As a matter of fact, the upper balcony was actually offices. The restoration process has been a true journey of discovery. During demolition, we learned where the original judge's bench and jury box were located, and we were able to obtain the original colors, and even discovered an answer to a mystery that has perplexed us for years, and that was how in the world people were able to get into the small balcony up above the judge. There was no entrance as far as we could tell. But after the demolition, we discovered that there was a small circular stairway to get up there. We believe this balcony was used as a security site for the courtroom during murder trials. At this time, it is indeed my honor to introduce to you the Honorable Charles Williams, who is Chief Judge of the 12th Judicial Circuit. Your Honor.
Thank you all. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I was advised to use my outside voice, so if you can't hear me, wave your hand, but I think I'll speak loud enough. First of all, on behalf of all of the judges in this circuit, including the senior judges and retired judges, we all appreciate your turnout. For the farmer, it is the farm. For the iron worker, it is the forge. For the automaker, it is the factory. But for those of us who are lawyers, judges, clerks, bailiffs, and other court officers, it is the courthouse. Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird, which has been in the news lately, reminds us in the words of Atticus Finch that the courts are the great levelers. As Atticus says in his closing argument from that magnificent novel, there is one way in the country in which all men are created equal. There is one human institution that makes the pauper the equal of a Rockefeller, the ignorant man the equal of any college president. That institution, gentlemen, is the court. This courthouse, built in 1913, is representative of how the law, society, and the courts have changed through time. This very courtroom is representative of our changing history and attitudes, and reminds all of us that the law is not static or stationary. The law moves forward and adapts to our constant quest for justice for all, as our Constitution wanted it to be so. The quote that I read from To Kill a Mockingbird is representative of a time much different than today's times in the court. Atticus Finch addressed those jurors as gentlemen because women were not allowed to serve as jurors back then. The courtroom itself was segregated, with African Americans relegated to the balcony, just as the balcony here once served in that same role. Today, we are witnesses to the great many changes that have occurred to the courts and to this country as a whole, thanks to the law. Today, we rededicate this courtroom. And so, let it be a monument to all of those who have worked here, both past and present, and those who will be working here in the future. Let this courtroom be a lasting symbol of freedom, and justice as it was intended when the first stone was laid for this courthouse many years ago. And for all of these reasons, we must celebrate our history. We must engage each other in constant dialogue about the importance of the courts and the laws, and let justice be served. Thank you for participating.
Thank you, sir. And now really gives me pleasure to introduce a gentleman that I've known for many years and have had the honor of working with since I've been here. And he made a trip purposely to come down here from North Carolina? South Carolina. Oh, well, sorry. Doesn't always work. The Honorable Judge Gilbert Smith, Sr. Judge.
Thank you. Chief Judge Williams, my fellow judges, Mr. Shore, county commissioners, and distinguished guests. Hello. I thank Chips for the introduction. I think some of it may have been deserved. I hope so. It is my honor to be here for this historic occasion. When seated over here a while ago, I kept looking out at the audience, and I wondered, who are these people? And I guess you were looking at me and says, who is that old man? I'll tell you who I am. I'm the father of Gilbert Smith. This restored courtroom is a little strange to me, to be honest. As you know, this courthouse and courtroom were built in 1912, 1913, so I've been over here over 100 years. It was probably overbuilt in 1913, but in the 50s and 60s, it was well underbuilt. And modifications were made to this courthouse by moving some of the offices out and building 3 more courtrooms, which weren't enough. I was admitted to the Florida bar in 1951 after serving 4.5 years in the Navy. I came to Bradenton in 1960 and came down here with George Harrison, who was a college classmate of mine at the University of Florida. I stayed with him a short time and then went over to the Dyes, which was junior and senior, and stayed with him until I was appointed circuit judge in 1971. I was with we used to call it the old road department. I think it got a fancy name now, Department of Transportation, from 1951 until I came here in 60. And I tried condemnation cases, which are not the most exciting cases in the world, all over the state of Florida. But I remember one that I tried in this courtroom. It's in 1956, and Bill Grimes, who was one of the fine lawyers in Bradenton at that time, was on the other side, and the judge was William Harrison, who had been on the circuit bench about 40 years. And we had 2 circuit judges in the circuit. We had one in Bradenton and we had one in Fort Myers, and both of them were no-nonsense judges. In other words, you didn't speak until they let you speak, and didn't let you act until they told you you could act. But anyhow, we were trying this condemnation case, and we picked a 12-man jury. Now, you got to remember this is 1956. Women were permitted to be on juries in 1949, but not on homicides or condemnation cases until the 60s. But anyhow, we picked a jury on a Monday, and we were proceeding in the trial. And of course, it was hot. It was July or August. The windows were open. The fans were going. And Judge Harrison let the jury take off their coats. He required jurors to wear coats at that time. But he let them take them off, but he wouldn't let the lawyers. We suffered. As we were taking testimony one afternoon, the trucks on, of course, Manatee Avenue always gearing down for the light, and the sound was terrible in here with the windows open. And about that time, a politician came out here on Manatee Avenue and 12th Street at the corner with a bullhorn, making a political speech. And it got so bad that Judge Harrison finally recessed the court until the politician left. That was his words. Well, the politician was Senator Kavanaugh from Kentucky, and he was running for the Democratic nomination for President of the United States. He was running against Adlai Stevenson, who was former governor of Illinois and ambassador to the United Nations. I might say that he ran against him in 1952 and again in 1956. He lost both elections. And then Governor Stevenson lost both elections to General Eisenhower in the general election. So he never was president either. As I said, Judge Harrison finally recessed it because we couldn't hear anything. And he wasn't very happy at all. He wasn't very happy any time, really. But he was especially not happy then. I want to thank Mr. Shore. I know him as Chip. And the county commission for restoring this courtroom. I don't remember it like this, but it was almost like this in '56. That was before the modifications where they took out the balcony, and used to be the court reporters up there later, I think. But anyhow, it was a pleasure for me to be here, and a grand job done by all. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Smith. It is my pleasure now to introduce to you the Honorable Vanessa Bach, our Manatee County Commissioner.
Thanks, Chips. Judge, I don't think I can follow you. That's pretty awesome. Although I do have a little surprise later. It's a great honor and privilege to be part of this day today. Chips, thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it. It marks the final chapter in a truly remarkable series of renovations for Manatee County's most significant historic building. The actual story began in 2008, just after the new judicial center was complete. The courthouse was approximately 94 years old, and she was starting to look her age. Recognizing the historical significance of this building, Mr. Shore worked toward a grand renovation project instead of writing off a major piece of our history. By 2010, Manatee County's Property Management Department, and I know that several of you are here, they worked with Mr. Shore to bring about interior renovations in the building. In 2012, we restored much of the exterior, replacing the roof, windows, cornice, and parts of the brick facade. We used energy-efficient practices and materials. Those improvements have slashed the county's energy cost by approximately 50%, a great savings. I also might add that when I was elected in 2012, I came to visit Mr. Shore, and he brought me in here. He wanted me to see what his goal was for this room. And I got to tell you, what a difference a couple of years have made. In 2014, we celebrated the beautiful landscaping and courtyard improvements and dedicated the Memorial Plaza for the veterans and law enforcement officers who gave their all to our community and our country. So you can see that this building has so much meaning to Manatee County. Today, once again, history springs to life around us. Throughout this beautifully restored courtroom, we have representatives of Manatee County, our rich history and heritage. Thanks to each of you who dedicated your lives to upholding our laws and protecting our civil liberties. On behalf of the Manatee County Commission, and I have to tell you there are several of us here today, I say congratulations to Mr. Shore, who had the vision for this grand, cold courtroom, and for the entire restoration project. You've done an incredible job, and you are a model clerk of the court. Manatee County is very blessed to have you.
Thank you.
Congratulations also to the great team that worked to restore it to its original glory. That's not an easy job. I'm in awe at what I'm seeing here today, as I'm sure all of you are as well. You've clearly put your heart and soul into the project, and it shows in every corner of this room. I personally thank you. But most of all, I have to congratulate the citizens of Manatee County. I hope this grand old courthouse continues to be treasured by the next generation of Manatee County residents for the next 100 years. And then they'll be here themselves renovating the building once again. Last but not least, there is something that most of you don't realize today, and I'm hoping you will help me with this. Today is a very important day, and it's a perfect day for the reopening of this courtroom. And the reason being, it's also Mr. Chip's Shore birthday. I don't think he knew that was going to be mentioned, so he might be a
thank
little
you.
surprised. We're not done. I'm not a singer, so I'm going to depend on all of you. If you will, let's sing Happy Birthday to Chips. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I've just got to tell you that this just wasn't my project. It was everybody's in the courthouse and across the street with the board and with project management. So it was a real team effort. But I love what's happened to it. And now I'd like to introduce to you Robert Etchenfelder, who is an attorney with the Manatee County Attorney's Office, but he is also president of the Manatee County Bar Association. Rob?
Thank you, Mr. Shore. I am here today representing the Manatee County Bar Association as its 75th president, and I am very honored to have that distinction. You know, I will say that as every good lawyer will, that we should be cautious about what we sing, because there's actually a legal dispute that the Happy Birthday song is actually owned by someone, and you're not allowed to publicly. But I won't tell anyone if you don't. You know, Mr. Shore I've gotten to know over the years, and in addition to being, of course, a great clerk, one of Florida's great clerks, he's a study in contrast, because at the same time that he treasures and honors history, that, as he has demonstrated both through this project and many others, Mr. Shore also, as many of you know, but some of you don't, has been a leader in the state of Florida in courtroom technology use, and had several firsts in his office of e-filing and e-service, and has been a leader in the state in pushing us forward to advance. This contrast that I talk about is also reflected in this room, and as our new Chief Judge indicates, you know, when this courtroom first came into use, there was no worker compensation law. Women did not have the right to vote. There were no child labor laws. And many alive at that time could remember a time in our country when one human being was allowed to own another. The law, as a lawyer, I feel, has had many failings and missed opportunities in terms of arriving at justice. But that same law and that same legal system is what I firmly believe sets our country apart from many others. And it has always been the right of any citizen of this country, when they feel that their government is doing wrong by them, constitutionally or otherwise, can seek the redress of a strong, vigorous, independent judicial branch. And I am proud to be a member of a profession, that is lawyers, who, while there were lawyers that actually stood in courtrooms and argued to sustain slavery and to say that it was wrong to give women the right to vote, and many other negative things, that there were an equal and more amount of lawyers who stood up for their client one at a time and advanced the rights of each of us sitting in this room today. And so I hope, as this room is rededicated, this courtroom, that we will remember our past, and we will honor those good things, and we will take the not-so-good things in our history as cautionary tales to never again do the same. Congratulations, Mr. Shore, on behalf of the Bar Association for this project.
I'm sorry, this was not supposed to be about me. It's about the courtroom, so hopefully we can get back to that. But I appreciate it, Rob. Thank you so much. We also now have the pleasure of having our county administrator, Ed Hunziker, with us, and he would like to say a few words. Emphasis on few.
It's all about you, Mr. Shore. Thank you all for being here. It's a great day in Manatee County. And a lot of us have come from other parts of the country to find our way to Manatee County to call this home. But I like to say, when Mama and them come to visit, from wherever Mama and them come from, live in a quality community, that you chose a great place to live. Well, this is where you can take them, to this building, to these grounds around this building, to this very courtroom, so that they go home and they know that you chose a great place to live. And we owe all of this to Mr. Shore. It was his drive and his perseverance, his creativity in finding the funding for this in the middle of a recession. It is truly a marvelous place for all of this community to share, for now and generations to come, to bring family and friends to show that this is truly a wonderful community to live in. Mr. Shore made it happen. He pushed us. He pushed the contractors. He made it happen. He made the grounds outside happen. He pushed the renovation of the second floor, this building. It's his vision for the future to leave a legacy, and what a legacy is leaving. Thank you. I thank you for all the community. It truly is something for the next 100 years. Thank you.
Excuse me. Judge Williams, will you return to the podium to reopen the courtroom for us?
Before I do that, Chips, Mr. Shores, I do want to thank you for the great job that you have done in restoring this courtroom. For the judges and the attorneys who were fortunate enough to have actually practiced and worked in this courtroom, it means a lot to us personally. Also, again, Judge Smith, I want to thank you for appearing today. One of the privileges I have is mentoring new judges. And one of the things I tell them, including your son, is if you want to be a good judge, be like Judge Smith. Because certainly he's the role model that I look up to, and I appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. At this time, on behalf of the entire judiciary of the 12th Judicial Circuit, this courtroom is officially reopened to serve the people of Manatee County. May God bless all those who enter here, and may justice always be served. Thank you.
Today is really personal to me, and it's meaningful in the fact that it was a dream and it's gotten done. And I appreciate everything everybody has done to help me do it. We've restored this great room to its turn of the last century grandeur, and it's fully functional. It's fully functional, ADA compliant. It's fully functional for everything that is passed, like fire marshal and the electrical people that have worked so hard to put things in. If you'll notice, even the sprinkler people, if you look up, you don't see sprinklers hanging down. The little round white caps up there have sprinklers, but they're underneath and they pop down. So the people that helped put this together and the architects have done an absolute incredible job. And none of this would have been possible without the support and effort of the Manatee County Board of County Commissioners, Manatee County Administrator Ed Hunsicker, Manatee County Property Management staff, the Courtroom Restoration Committee, Half Acre Construction, Frank Monhart, Judge Gilbert Smith Jr., who just went out of his way to help us every way he could. And as busy as he was as a judge, he still was able to make the meetings where the decisions were made on what we were doing in the courtroom. Jerry Zoller and Darren Autry and their team, the Manatee County Bar Association, and Mr. Mike Lawton, the supervisor of the project, who has gone above and beyond his job to make sure everything was perfect. And last but not least, Lieutenant Paula Newman, who stands behind me, or did, and her incredible bailiffs, who work every day to keep us all safe. Thank you all. And now, Color Guard Commander, please retire the colors. All rise as the colors are retired.
Color, halt. Right, left, face. Color, retrieve the colors. Present arms. Port arms. Color bearers, about face. Color guard, face center. Color guard at the half step forward, march.
Ladies and gentlemen, court is now adjourned. Thank you.
That it is a historical place to visit, to come, to have programs in, and to work with. It belongs to the public and should be used by the public. Judge Smith was a judge that's been retired for some time now, and he was one of the best judges we've ever had. And to have him come down from South Carolina really was a surprise to me, and his remarks were just great, and we thank him very, very much.
It's great because I actually tried a lot of cases here. My aunt was a deputy clerk for 50 years and my mother for 15, so I grew up in this courthouse. So I remember Courtroom A like nobody else. I can remember the windows were always open here, and I remember being at the Woolworths across the street and hearing Walter Talley and Warren Goodrich arguing cases. I remember actually seeing in a criminal case a moonshine still built right here, and watched a trial. And I saw Jerome Pratt try to prove that his client could drink 4 shots of Jack Daniels and not get drunk in defense of a DUI. And we sat here and watched him get his client drunk to the point that he had to leave the courtroom and go back into the jury room because he was sick. So I've seen everything here in this courtroom. It's got a lot of history, and we had a lot of fun here. These big old wood benches, when the jury had a verdict, they would knock on the door, and it was very loud. So what we would do when the jury was out, we'd be sitting out here, we'd reach under these wood benches and bang on them like that, and everybody would go jumping around and everything. So this courtroom has a lot of good memories, and this is great for this community as well, and for this makes this courthouse really a historical courthouse now. It's history, and history is important. Tradition is important. And this is a magnificent, this courtroom says justice. It says courtroom. You know, if you were going to design a courtroom to look like a courtroom, this would be it for sure. And so it takes us back to times that we can remember way back when Braden was small, don't forget. Now, of course, it's a lot better. So those are good memories, a lot of good memories right here in this courtroom.
Oh, it means a lot to me. This is really one of the first courtrooms that I practiced in Manatee County, and it's been restored wonderfully.
Well, I think that the history of the courthouse, in particular this courtroom, is so important to the history of Manatee County. And as you know, I like this, the history. This case has so much rich history because some of the most important trials that were tried in Manatee County were in fact tried in this exact courtroom. My dad can tell us more about this, but at one time it was the only courtroom in this courthouse, isn't that, Dan?
It was the only courtroom up until the 60s, yeah. I like to say, Mr. Shore, that he did a wonderful, wonderful job. It's even prettier than I remember it, and my memory is pretty good for old things.
Well, I think that Manatee County's history in this courtroom will go on for a long time because we hope to hold a lot of events in here, investitures, other types of events that are going to be historical in nature. But, you know, this courtroom itself has so much, many stories to tell through these trials, so many people that went through this, and so it's really a reflection of the Manatee County residents here.
We got a lot of older stuff up there than they got here, but nothing is good.
You want to come back down here and hold a trial here?
Oh, I'd love to sometime.